Loomian Legacy. It's quite possibly one of the most well-made games on Roblox, with well-designed creatures, a fun story, and a somewhat okay community. But within this comes many mysteries, some that you've never even heard of. So strap in, because today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the Loomian Legacy Iceberg. Alright, so how this iceberg works is at the top, of course, you have everything that the community knows, and then as you further go down, it talks into some more, I guess, kind of darker stuff and some more obscure things. So starting out, of course, with Tier 1, let's go over our first topic, our Menti Dev Eaglet. Now, it's no secret that the developers of Loomian Legacy take a liking to our Menti, and for good reason. He has a great relationship with them, and from this, he received some special, exclusive Loomians for a short period of time. Like on his birthday, he received a special Gamma Eaglet with some out of the ordinary stats. And from this, Armenti actually gave it out to a couple of his friends, one of them being I Eat Your Face. Now, I Eat Your Face is a PvP Loomian Legacy YouTuber, and there's been a lot of theories surrounding this eaglet that as soon as Armenti gave it to I Eat Your Face went to Rally Ranch and copied the eaglet's stats over to some regular eaglets, and ever since then, he's been hiding them in his box. Now again, this is purely speculation, but it definitely makes you wonder, was that eaglet able to be rallied? Male Shachi. Now, Shachi is actually a very interesting Loomian, as this is the first Loomian to be 100% gender locked. And what does this mean? Well, this means that Shachi can only be female. It doesn't matter if you go and try to catch it, it doesn't matter if you go and try to trade for one, search for it, it is always going to be female, and you will never ever find a male Shachi. But whenever the Route 4 update actually released, there was a case where you could find a male Shachi inside of Loomian Legacy. Now, this was quickly reverted, and all of the male Shachis that were found inside of the game were actually reverted back to female. But this is definitely something interesting, as this right here is possibly one of the only screenshots of a male Shachi existing inside of Loomian Legacy. Gamma SA Ferroglyph. Now, there's not much to say about this, but this Loomian is actually the rarest Loomian ever found inside of Loomian Legacy, coming close to a 1 in 50 million chance. Now, again, this is a Gamma Secret Ability Ferroglyph, and the odds of this are pretty insane. This was found by user AwesomeJeremy23, and definitely a big congrats to him. Dev Loomians. Now, what this refers to is actually the abundance of special reskin Loomians that some of the developers can receive. Now, of this, we can see T-Bartum's Blue Obsidragon, Saraibon's Corrupted Falkery, and Inverted Dusket, Chris Super's Red Zulong and Pink Ferroglyph, as well as many more. Geysers. Now, this is definitely one that I think that you guys probably walk by every single day. You know, you're probably hunting or doing something, you see it, you don't think much of it, you think, oh hey, when are they actually going to do something with that? And then you go along with your day, okay? But from this, you can actually just look at them, right? And you could look at where they're going, and some of them actually lead to certain locations. Now, of course, where can you find them? You can find them inside of Gale Forest, Route 2, and Igneous Hollow. Now, it really makes you wonder, right? If they had these inside of the game originally, right? You know, they had them on day 1, and then they didn't do anything with them, why would they add them in the next update? If that makes sense, right? Why would they start to add more geysers? It really, just to me, doesn't make sense on why they keep adding them. But we have still yet to get an explanation for what they're going to do with them, where they're going to go, and yeah, that's about it. Glororock. Now, whenever Loomian Legacy was in its first week of coming out, so there was a lot of people wondering what the Loomians were, how to evolve them, and just there was a lot of, misinformation being spread. And I contributed to this, okay? I said, there was a new Loomian called Glororock, you can find it only inside of Galvanite Cave, as you know, Galvanite Cave didn't really have any Loomians, and I said it was a 1 out of 1,000 chance. And from this, I created a sprite, I created a model, I even did some editing on some images to show that it was real, and a lot of people believe me, let's just say that. And it even made its way inside of a Nate's video, and from that, I mean, there wasn't really much other than that. This all was just a prank. Tyrecks' original form. Now, this can actually be applied to things like Pootrol, Wimpor, Stratosaur, all of those types of Loomians, and this essentially just makes you wonder, what were these Loomians' original forms, okay? What did these Loomians look like before Pollute Corp added all these parts to them? And, you really gotta think, stuff like Operaptor. Operaptor is made of what I presume to be flesh, and when it evolves, it goes into Concordon, but then it goes into Tyrecks. And Tyrecks is like 95% metal. It's just all metal. Most of it is just, again, literally metal parts onto it. So, again, it really makes you think, what would these Loomians actually look like if they didn't have their metal on them? Old SA Symbol. Now to close off this tier, let's go over something that actually a lot of 2019 Loomian Legacy players to even early 2020 Loomian Legacy players will probably remember, and that is going to be the old SA symbol. Now the old SA symbol was actually something pretty interesting because it was the same thing as the Pokemon Brick Bronze hidden ability symbol, and I don't know, in my opinion, I just like the old SA symbol than the one that we have now. I'm not saying that the one currently looks bad, but I don't know, I just liked having the star to kind of differentiate from it being, you know, just, I guess, grouped into the entire, like, gleam thing, you know, with it being, like, a circle, if that makes sense. But I understand why they did it, of course, it being a more visual thing, if anything. And this change was actually brought around, I believe, the start of the Geklo event, if I'm not mistaken, or around the Sephiroth City event. Loomian Legacy Radios. Now, around a year ago, me and our mentee made a video basically talking about what if we could voice chat inside of Loomian Legacy. And what we did is we walked around with radios and actually just played audios and talked to each other and said hi and said what's up and all that stuff. But you actually might not know that the radios were customly programmed in by T-Bradum. Yeah, so T-Bradum actually just coded in a special radio for me and our mentee inside of the game, and we don't have access to it anymore, but it definitely was a very interesting thing inside of Loomian Legacy just to see that T-Bradum realistically can put whatever he wants inside of the game. Beta Gammas. Now, before we had the Gammas that we know and love today, there was actually a set of old Gammas inside of Loomian Legacy. Now, these Gammas were actually not inside of the game, or rather a sprite sheet that you had to go inside of the actual files itself to find, but the fact that it is still inside of the game's code, and the fact that, again, these things still do exist, definitely is very, very interesting. Some of these actually do look pretty cool, though, like Gamma Ragoon. Gamma Ragoon actually used to be an inverted color, which, to me, I think that that's pretty cool. Would I prefer it over the current one? I don't really know, but if you guys want to learn more about it, I have an entire video up talking about every single old Beta Gamma, so definitely check that video out. Rainbow Twilight's deleted. Now, the 2020 Rainbow Twilight event was definitely something interesting. It brought a lot of drama, but also brought some very interesting Loomians to the game. 30 to be exact. Now, from this 30, actually only 28 still remain, as 2 of them got deleted. And what I mean by this is the first one was actually a result of somebody's account getting banned off of Roblox, and their account actually had one of the Rainbow Twilights in it. And again, from this, as you can kind of, you know, infer, that means no more Rainbow Twilights. So, that already reduces our total down to 29. But, if you didn't know, there was actually another one that was rumored to have been deleted as the person literally tried to sell it for $50. Yeah, $50 for a Rainbow Twilight, at least that's what everybody says. Yeah, it's not that good of a price, first of all, and second of all, why would you try to sell it in the first place? People make a lot of stupid decisions inside of Loomian Legacy, but this definitely takes the cake. Baby Cephalops. Now, the UMV update brought a lot of new stuff to the game, and of this, it actually brought a new roaming Cephalops. Cephalops can be found sealed away inside of an old tomb down in the deep dark depths of the water. And from this, we can actually look around the entire area. We can see the giant dead Cephalops mother, which we will get into later, but we can also see some baby Cephalopses. Now, these aren't necessarily like baby Cephalopses, these are completely different Loomians in and itself. Different models, different designs, different everything, and they are actually found inside of little eggs. So honestly, who knows, will these Cephalops eggs hatch one day and possibly take over Auroria? I guess we'll have to see. LuckyHD Metronette. Alright, so there are a lot of people who still don't know how the Metronette was actually put inside of the game, and they genuinely think that the game glitched out on me and actually gave me a Metronette. If you don't know, basically what happened, T-Bradum spawned in a Metronette for me inside of Loomian Legacy. That's it. He went inside of the game's code, altered it to make my next encounter going to be a Metronette, and then from that, I had a pretty crazy reaction. Then he teleported me to the actual Dr. Halloween's nightmare, and then did a little bit of things, made it so like if I went up to the door, I'd get flung all the way across the map, and just a bunch of other things. So all around, it was a pretty interesting thing to see inside of the game, and goes to show that, again, like I said before, T-Bradum can realistically do whatever he wants with the game. Metronette Can Talk. Inside of the Dr. Halloween's Nightmare event, essentially what we do is we go into the brain of an old man and look around, go and fight his nightmare. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting event, but from this, we actually learned that Metronette is the only sentient Loomian ever to be in the game. And what do I mean by this? Well, Metronette can actually understand human speech, like physical English human speech. It's pretty crazy to think, but there actually is dialogue of Metronette talking, of course saying, bring me some candy, bring me this, bring me that, and again, this makes Metronette the first ever Loomian that can talk. Mutagon nearly kills Faust and kills her parents. Alright, so as we know, Faust is the third Battle Theater star inside of Loomian Legacy. Her design mainly comprises of half cyborg and half human. But you have to wonder, how did Faust get this? Well, we actually can read a little thing about Lucy where she says on a TV special that Faust was in an accident, right? Now, here's the thing. If we actually go inside of the Dr. Vanta vault, there is a little special book we can read that is on the floor. Now, these books get very dark very quickly, especially book 3 that mentions that Mutagon escapes his testing facility, runs out into a highway causing a massive car accident in which a little girl is left with severe injuries and is also left without her parents. Essentially meaning Mutagon killed her parents. So of course that happened 15 years ago, and the timeline does match up from Faust being a little girl until now, where 15 years later she would be an adult and she would actually be a battle star. Now this also explains why Dr. Vanta and Faust are so close. Dr. Vanta and Faust, mainly Dr. Vanta, is just friends with her, and actually it just goes to her and, you know, again fixes up some stuff for her because he feels bad. And there's even evidence to support this by reading further into the book that says, "Words cannot describe the turmoil this single event has stirred within my soul, but I must press on, for I know that one day I will be able to make a difference in this world." So again, a very, very dark part, and especially something very, very interesting that, you know, most people do know, but definitely is something that I think does need to be touched on again. The 3-dog trio. Now, this theory is something that I've gone over in the past, and it's something that I want to go over again, because there are currently 2 dog statues inside of Loomian Legacy. The first one being inside of Gale Forest, and being a green-eyed dog statue, surrounded by an archway that we can see inside of Pokemon Brick Bronze, surrounding Entei. Now, Entei, of course, is actually one of the 3 legendary dogs, which, again, is kind of the basis for this entire theory. Now, we can also look at a second statue found inside of Igneous Hollow. Now, this statue right here has red eyes, and whenever you click on both of these statues, it says, "You can feel it peering into your soul." Now, you might be asking, well, where's the third one? Well, what I believe is that this is going to be a fire, grass, and water trio, and the water dog statue is not going to come until Atlanthian City. As we know, Atlanthian City is going to be the water type, or possibly the water type battle theater, of course having a new beach, having a completely underwater city, and all of that. Now, if this actual blue dog statue does come to the game, this essentially proves that we will be getting a 3 legendary dog trio inside of Loomian Legacy. Exploded Atlanthian. Now, as we know, Atlanthian City was the Sky City inside of Pokemon Brick Bronze, and from this, there was actually something pretty interesting that Cypress wanted to do. He wanted to explode Atlanthian City so that it would fall out of the sky. Now, as we know, Atlanthian City is floating above a body of water, so if it exploded out of the sky and it fell into the water, then it would become Atlanthian City, or so we think, okay? Because Atlanthian City is a combination of Atlantis and Atlanthian City. So that would mean if it fell out of the sky, then it would become what we know now as Atlanthian City inside of Loomian Legacy, aka the next update. Question mark Loomian. Alright, so around a couple months ago, I was actually streaming, getting ready for a new update, and that's when I was inside of the Battle Coliseum using my Gamma Skellig named Bill. Now, Bill was a very, very interesting Loomian, as it has had some hiccups in the past where it's glitched out and stuff, but this one was especially strange, okay? So whenever I sent it out into battle, instead of appearing as a Gamma Skellig, it appeared as an orange question mark. Now, this orange question mark, again, is very, very strange, and you would never expect it to actually happen to your Loomian. Now, in asking around to somebody who knows the Loomian Legacy code very, very well, he said that the question mark appears if you try to get something that requires event data. Example being the Akazane cutscene requires other stuff to be done before it can happen, or it will load a question mark. It's the same thing for battling, but if that data fails to load, then shrugging emoji. So, yeah, I mean, an otherwise very, very simple explanation for a, I guess, very weird occurrence. So, yeah. Missing evolutions. So this is something that I've actually been looking into since the UMV update came out, and that is inside of the Lumipedia. If you scroll all the way down, you can see a missing evolution to Blowtox, or so we think it's to Blowtox. We don't really know what Loomian 110 is, okay? There's just a random spot right here, but then you go further, right, and then you see Colosstrops. But then after that, there's no other Loomian. So where are these two Loomians? You could even scroll down further. I mean, of course, 132, you know them. It's probably going to get filled. But there's just so many just random missing evolutionary slots, or just Loomians in general, that we really don't know anything about. And realistically, all we could know is that, you know, it's a new Loomian, it's a new evolution. I guess we'll just have to see what the future holds. Pyramid language. Alright, so I think I've talked about this more times than I have fingers on my hand, but it is definitely something very, very odd with Pyramid, okay? If you actually look on its body, of course, you know, Pyramid just sits there, spinning around, but on its body it has some little symbols, okay? And these symbols are actually a part of a bigger alphabet. And I'll put the entire alphabet up on screen, and note that the P, it says it's missing, but the P is on there, trust me, okay? So, with this entire thing, you know, just existing on Pyramid, inside of Sephiroth City, there was actually a thing. If you glitched outside of the map and went onto this little pillar area, you could read this kind of cryptic message that's basically talked about, you know, like, the final is fifth, where four stand fearless, battle a creature of myth, you know, that entire thing. Again, I've talked about it a lot, but yeah, it's just, it's very interesting, the lore behind Pyramid, and, you know, just the reasoning on why it has all of these letters on its body. Lando is dead. Alright, so I guarantee you haven't heard this one in a while. This is actually something you could find only inside of the trade resorts. If you go over to this little area right here, go down the stairs, and then go in front of the vault. Now, the vault door was something that everybody was like, oh, what's behind the vault door? Will this thing ever get open? And, I mean, yes, like, it kind of did get opened. Basically, if you glitched into there, what you would find would be a dead Lando with a Pokemon Brick Bronze PC box right next to him. It was kind of just like a little Easter egg, you know, just saying, oh, look at this. It's a little fun thing that, oh, you found this, you know. Nothing too special or nothing too, I guess, cryptic, but all in all, was still a pretty cool Easter egg to find. Dead Loomian / Loomian meat. Yeah. I told you it's gonna get pretty dark. So, if we actually go right here, and then go into the Lumipedia and scroll to Cupwink, Cupwink, as we can see, it's a maple bacon cupcake, okay? It says a maple bacon cupcake brought to life when it was infused with soul crystal dust. Cupwink must always be on the move because its scent lures in hungry predators. So, let's take a look at Cupwink, okay? As we can see, it's a pig design, you know, it's got all that stuff. But then, you know, bacon, a maple bacon cupcake. Where does the bacon come from, okay? Now, this gets to the first part of it, which is Loomian meat, okay? Where did the meat come from for this Cupwink to exist? What bacon existed before this to allow Cupwink to exist? And that's why I think, and I've made a video on this in the past, that Babor is actually the meat on Cupwink. I know it's a very, very strange and odd theory, but when you kind of look into things, it makes a little bit more sense. So then going into the next thing, which is going to be dead Loomians, if we actually look back to the Christmas event and we look on the wall of the Jolly Village house, you can see a dead Trumbull mounted up on the wall. Yes, I'm not even joking. There is a dead Trumbull literally chilling on the wall. Final boss. Alright, so I think we've all been wondering what the final boss of Loomian Legacy is going to be. Possibly, you know, the Loomian that controls all of the corrupted, everything that's causing havoc, all of that stuff, okay? Well, at the start of the game, we can actually read two messages by our mom and dad talking, and it says, it roughly translated to, the creature's secret lies dormant within, until the day of awakening it comes again. And basically what they were doing is they were describing what was on the text, or the little kind of like rock thing at the start of the game before it blew up, and of course spread all the corrupted stones around Roria. So from this, we can actually infer that whatever we're going to be getting at the, like, I guess the final part of the game is going to have to maybe do with the corrupts, or, you know, just kind of be like the mastermind or the hive mind behind all the corrupts. Cannibal Cephalops. Alright, so I've actually gone over this one in a previous video, but what this talks about is Cephalops' dex entry and the entire, like, Deep Lake Tomb thing, okay? So, if we remember back to Deep Lake Tomb, there's a giant dead mother Cephalops sitting in the middle of the room. Now, of course, this Cephalops has a bunch of, like, parts taken out of it. Its entire head is literally, like, ripped off from its thing. You can see the neck bone. Its parts of its, like, little tentacle things are ripped open. You can see the bone and all that stuff. But where it gets really, really dark is if we actually go to our mastery, then go to our Lumipedia, scroll all the way down to Cephalops, you can read and it says this. This Loomian is so to live in the deepest parts of the ocean, only surfacing to lay their eggs. After the eggs are laid, the mother dies and the new hatchlings feed upon the remains of the mother. So, the entire Cephalops species is basically just a bunch of cannibals. And it's very, very dark to think that, but that is what happened to the Cephalops down in the Deep Lake Tomb. Wild 7x40 Dusket. So I think most of us know about our Loomian stats, ups, and all of that, but if you actually go to your training and you don't have the game pass, you can see your advanced stats on your Loomians. As you guys can see right here, my Dusket has 3 5 stars in a melee attack, range attack, and speed. But what if I told you that there was a Dusket that was a pure 7x40? And what does that mean? Well, of course you can see your Loomian has 3 stars or 3 5 stars right here. But sometimes they can occasionally have another 4 star or 5 star or all that. And it can have it on each of these stats, okay? But there was a specific Dusket found a while back that actually was a pure 7x40. Which means that it had all of its stats maxed out to 5 stars. From the wild, and since then there has never been a Loomian found like that since. And up on screen right now will be the actual image of it. It was a pretty crazy Loomian at the time, and you can tell of course that it is not sharded, as it actually still does have the white numbers on it, but all around a nearly 1 in 2 million chance for this Loomian. Pretty crazy that only one exists. Secret ability Gleam Halloween Loomians. Alright, so this is one that is actually pretty obscure, as there are no images of this, okay? Out of everything here, I've provided images and all that stuff, but from this, there are literally no images. It's just rumors, okay? There's been a lot of people who say that they've seen him inside of the game, but from that, I have never ever seen a screenshot. But with everybody talking about this, okay, if these Loomians actually did in fact exist, and people say that there is a Gleam Halloween SA Slugling and a Gleam Halloween SA Shotchi, these Loomians would be among some of the rarest Loomians ever found in the entire game. Loomian Legacy Hacker. Alright, so now we get into the deep and dark stuff, and this first one is actually going to be something that I don't necessarily have a screenshot of or a kind of video of, because this was from a year ago. Like, this is from all the way back in 2020, and this is actually on one of my previous live streams. So if you guys actually do find it, you're looking through some of my old live streams, definitely let me know. But during this entire thing, there was somebody in my game, okay, and he actually had the ability to rename himself to anything he wanted. And I was actually hearing about this from other YouTubers at the time, saying, you know, watch out, there's somebody going in your game, you know, renaming themselves to say a bunch of stuff. And what he did, he renamed himself to my username, started saying a bunch of racial slurs, and then quickly, of course, I got out of there. But I later learned that he actually started renaming himself to developers and moderators and got special access to their panels. Now, how the story goes, or at least how I was told, he actually changed his username to some of the developers and some of the moderators and had their entire menus, which means he could have kicked people, he could have possibly even spawned and stuff, he could have banned people as well. So all in all, it was an extremely scary time to be playing Loomian Legacy while he was doing that. And I think even at the time, I didn't even play Loomian Legacy after I heard about this, because I was very, very worried about my account. 2019 Duplication Glitch. Alright, it's 2019, and of course the events are going on. You have the Halloween event, and then you have the Christmas event going on, and in the midst of all of that, somebody comes in and starts duplicating Loomians. And this caused a massive outburst in the community, okay? This was the first time the Loomian Legacy community had ever seen something like this, and people did not know what to do. Everything quickly started to go south. People were creating rumors that if you actually had one of them in your inventory, that you would be immediately banned, and also if you had them just in general, like you traded to somebody, if you got it from a trade, you'd get banned. Like, there was so much chaos. And up on screen are the actually 2 Loomians that were mainly duped. There's an old Ominous Nebula video where he actually shows that there are multiple of this Gleaming Shotchi, and all in all, it was just crazy, okay? Some of the Loomians, and actually I think most of them did eventually get compensated, but this entire thing was just a very, very scary experience at the time, even especially if you didn't own one of these Loomians. Biggest Loomian dupe, 3,570 GR. Alright, our final topic. This one is going to be the biggest Loomian Legacy dupe in history, okay? This involves over 3,750 GR worth of Loomians. I'm talking a full box of Rainbow Twilights, a full box of Gleaming Santa Ragoons, full box of Gleam Halloween Gastrix, full box of Gleaming Sapphires. Anything you could think of, this person could dupe it. There's even rumors that this person somehow managed to glitch a Rainbow Twilight without a Rainbow Wisp into the game, okay? So, this GIF right here shows all of the Loomians that they owned inside of their box. Take it, just take it all in, okay? This one GIF right here is worth 5 times Ominous's inventory. And we know Ominous's inventory is worth 600, 700 GR, okay? So, the fact that somebody managed to dupe nearly 5 times the amount is absolutely just insane, okay? And there's even a rumor, okay? There's a big, giant rumor that this person has yet to be banned from the game and still owns all of these Loomians. Now, of course, if he did own all of these Loomians, would he actually give them out to people? Who knows? And I think if he actually did, we would have already seen it by now. But this entire thing is just very, very scary. And that's it, guys. That was the entire Loomian Legacy Iceberg. Dear Lord, this took me over 10 hours of editing, recording, just doing all of that stuff for this video. So if you guys would, go down there and drop a like, please, because this took me so long. You guys don't even understand. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, and also if you guys want me to do more stuff like this, you know, just going into like all this old Loomian Legacy knowledge, definitely drop a comment down below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you go down there, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.